Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala يقول في كتاب الكريم بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. A theme that we're really familiar with, carrying on from Surah Al-Baqarah and Surah Kahf in particular, is how the Prophet ﷺ had an attitude towards other people when he was giving them da'wah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, فَلَعَلَّكَ بَاخِعٌ نَفْسَكَ عَلَىٰ آثَارِهِمْ إِن لَّمْ يُؤْمِنُوا بِهَذَا الْحَدِيثِ أَسَفًا. Are you going to kill yourself from grief because they do not accept this message of yours? Where does that come from? Why would somebody be so sad about the rejection of other people? I thought we are not supposed to care about the approval of others. That's the idea, right? The idea is, who cares what people say as long as you're doing the right thing? But over here, we read these verses and all of a sudden we're getting a different picture from the Prophet ﷺ having a deep distraught, a deep amount of sadness and grief from people's rejection of the message. And that comes and it's summarized over here in Surah Yasin. Okay? In Surah Yasin, there are messengers sent to a nation, and in one of these particular circumstances, there is a man that hears in the distance that there was a man preaching the message of Tawheed, and the people are rejecting him. And he hears of this distant news happening, and immediately he sets out. He's like, I gotta go, and I gotta help him out. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala records this when He says, وَجَاءَ مِنْ أَقْصَى الْمَدِينَةِ رَجُلٌ يَسْعَى. And there came a man from a faraway city running. قَالَ يَا قَوْمِ اتَّبِعُوا الْمُرْسَلِينَ. And he started saying, oh my people, follow the messenger. اتَّبِعُوا مَنْ لَا يَسْأَلُكُمْ أَجْرًا وَهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. Follow the guy who's not asking anything from you. He doesn't want your money, he doesn't want your power, he doesn't want anything from you. وَهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. He's just guided. He's guided. That's what it is. And so you can see he comes out, he's taking, and this is a really, really important thing that we sort of need to understand as believers, is this thing called ownership. Okay? When we hear that a messenger is conveying a message and he's being rejected by his people, we think of ourselves as, oh man, I'm no messenger. I'm not even a knowledgeable person. I might not even be guided. What can I really do here? Alright? I love what the messenger is doing in my heart. I kind of support him from a distance, but he's doing his own thing, right? He's just a different league on his own. But this man is different over here because he's taking ownership of the da'wah. He sees that what the messenger is saying and what he's going through, and he said, this is me. This is my story as well. So he's telling these people, this guy's not asking anything from you. He's making a case for them, for the messenger. He's not asking you guys for anything. This is just a message to guide us. وَمَا لِيَ لَا أَعْبُدِ الَّذِي فَطَرَنِي وَإِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ. And so what would be the reason for me to not follow the person that created me, the originator of myself? And that is a person I'm going to return to. And then, he has this entire speech he gives to his people on why they should follow the messengers and accept the message of God. And what do they do in retaliation? They go and they kill this guy. And immediately Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cuts to the next thing and says, قِيلَ ادْخُلِ الْجَنَّةِ. He tells that person to enter Jannah. So it goes from the guy standing up for truth, standing up for justice, defending the messenger, telling his people, and taking ownership of the da'wah, to immediately cutting to his death. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling his soul to enter Jannah. What do you think the first thing he would say is? I knew it was coming. Oh, it's better than I ever imagined. Oh, it's like nothing ever happened to me in the dunya. The first thing he says over here, it says literally, قِيلَ ادْخُلِ الْجَنَّةِ. It is told to him to enter Jannah. قَالَ يَا لَيْتَ قَوْمِي يَعْلَمُونَ. He says, oh man, I wish my people knew about what I'm seeing right now. That's the first thing he says. I wish my people knew what I know now, entering Jannah. You can see how this connects to the attitude the Prophet ﷺ had earlier. When yes, you do not judge your success or failure depending on what other people approve or do not approve of you. But these are humans. This is the creation Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had the angels prostrate in the heavens. This is a creation Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala honored above everything else. You're talking to an eternal aspect. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the ruh in an eternal fashion and blew it into the human being. That's what you're interacting with over here. And when you truly understand the vastness of eternity, that whatever temporal existence we have right now in this dunya, our souls don't experience that. Our souls are eternal. Our souls have no end. Then you start having this deep empathy for every single thing the other person's doing. The way they wake up, the way they live their life, the priorities they have, their families and stuff like that. Because it's not a matter of, I'll never see this guy again. Oh, this guy it's just a passing thing. No. You guys are all part and parcel of the same thing. And whatever is happening right now, it's not a passing thing on its own. Everything's eternal. Your memories meeting that soul will be eternal, and the consequences each of you make for your decisions will also be eternal. And this is where it gets grounded. When you have a deep grounding on the understanding that you are doing da'wah to another person for the sake of their soul, for the sake of their eternity. Not only that I have to do it for my soul, but I can save another. That solves so many of the base questions that a lot of people have no idea of how to answer when it comes to their daily da'wah, especially when it comes to their own friends. A lot of us are being raised over here, we have non-Muslim friends, and even our Muslim friends are often not even practicing. They're not praying, they're not fasting, their public life is no different than anybody else's that's not Muslim. And you start asking yourself, well, how can I do da'wah to this person? What's the strategy? What's the hack? What's the blueprint? It starts at just understand the person's pain point. Understand how to convey the feeling that you have innately about reality. You just talk about death, talk about the importance of life. Like, how can another person not understand miracles around him? Just at a base level, being able to communicate that. You don't have to go to, why aren't you praying? Don't you know this is a command? Don't you know you're doing haram? Don't you know, right? Like, are you able to fundamentally communicate what this person is able to communicate over here? So, I mean, this is a perspective that's so repeating in the Quran, but it's really so lost today. So, always kind of reroute yourself or reorient yourself towards understanding the person's pain points, understanding that if this person knew what I knew, how could I convey that? And then that empathy, that care for the other person is the driver of that. If you don't have the empathy and you don't have the care for the other person, anything you say or whatever sentence that you come up with is not going to be a convincing sentence to them. It's going to feel like it's part of some greater agenda. You won't be able to say like this person say, La yas'alukum alayhi ajra, that they're not asking anything from you. It sounds like you're asking something from me. It sounds like you want something from me, right? It sounds like there's a ploy behind this, right? If you don't get to their pain points, if you can't truly empathize with another person and care for their soul, that's what it's going to sound like. And so this is the attitude we need to adopt from these beautiful verses from Surah Yasin. So I pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows us to have a deep empathy for the suffering of other people, for the pain points of society, so that we are accurately and emotionally able to convey that to other people, to bring them back to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the mission of establishing it for the sake of humanity. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows more than anybody else how much suffering is in this world from the lack thereof. آمين يا رب العالمين. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك ونشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب